Hello, everybody, welcome. Rose a psych investigator, hello, huh? Everybody, welcome. Rose a psych investigator. So I hope you're having a good, cool Tuesday, June 24th. I'm just doing a brief uh, episode today. Listen to protection. I'd like to ask for protection, a beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I feel my lungs as I breathe out. I create a circle. I create a circle. I step into it. I step into it. I feel protected. I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources. That I create the good and only the good, and so it is. So I'm just gonna do sort of a quick update today. Things are happening so quickly that I honestly I get confused sometimes, and I'm not honest. I don't like today, for example. I did not watch the news a lot, just on and off, right? And we have the collapse of the Trump narrative about the whole Iran thing. And apparently, Trump is now trashing Bibi and saying, yelling at Bibi and Iran to go with their, what is that? No, I have a, no, we have a peace plan. And it's just, like, it's his imagination, really. Okay, but let's just go to what would it say here? Okay, all right. Okay, so Iran strikes on Iran set nuclear program back by months, sources say. The initial assessment would appear to contradict Trump and Netanyahu's claims that Iran's nuclear capabilities were obliterated by the US attack. Okay, so, and then here here, Trump lashes out at Israel and Iran amid accusations of ceasefire violations. So, now, but what's interesting is again, Israel ambassador to UN says early to jump into conclusions about damage to Iran program. So again, we have this awkward situation, right? That Trump says one thing, and the reality is another. But that's kind of how he's operated, right? But somehow, guys, I feel like this Edmund's second term, it's way worse. Is it? I don't know why I feel like it's way worse than the first, in the sense that there's something much more egregious now than before. It feels like, I don't know. It just feels like there's many more wars, and it's very, it's grotesque. Maybe perhaps that's the better word, grotesque. What's going on? Okay, so let's ask the questions here. So then the question I have, so I saw earlier today is that Trump. So it's still a question about theater. So it was, yes, it was completely theater, right? That he wanted to. He was distracted. He was angry at how his campaign was, his military period was going, and how it had gone with the U meeting. And then he's like, yeah, let's go attack. And it was just a very casual way of saying something very serious. And he lied to the public about it. It didn't cause as much damage. They had told Iranians to move their weapons out of the way, right? And here we are. And so, and now they have to do damage control. And of course, Hexeth is just a spokesperson, right? He will say whatever, and then he's saying, no, we obliterated the nuclear program. And no, there's no evidence of that, really, right? So what is happening here? What is going to happen with uh, Trump's relationship with Israel? And let's see. Okay, so the next question here: what is happening with Trump's entirely false peace plan and the truth between him, Bibi, and Iran? So, right, we have him um, saying there's a peace plan, and obviously, I just think honestly, he just said it and made it up, and there's no exact sign of this between Iran and Israel. So, what is really going on here? I see Trump here very casually. Oh, have a peace plan, as if he's basically a con man saying whatever he thinks people want to hear, and that's what he's saying. There's nothing solid in this statement. Okay, so, but I see that Bibi, of course, did this to stay in power, and apparently there wasn't that much damage to Iran's nuclear program. Okay, that's dope. And even as I showed you, the assessment of intelligence agencies is that. So, what happens next is the question. Okay, so what is happening next? What is the situation right now? He's saying he's in a play, he's in theater doing theater. Oh, he's saying something on stage, knowing full well that it's on stage, meaning that it's fictional. He's just saying something, and then the reality is right next to him. It doesn't correspond to, and he has to deal with that. And he enjoyed that part of the play because people were distracted, and that's his main goal, is to distract people and away from the challenges of his administration. So, okay. All right. So what's next? What's next here? What's next is what is happening the next few days. Oh, I see this energy of this dispersion. Okay, so what's happening next? So I see socks, and then people go different directions, and Bibi kind of runs away because he's also running away from what's happening in Israel. Like he's just said it to change again. He is even much more than Trump, even change the conversation, distract. Okay, then what's next? What is next here? So, okay, so what is happening? Yeah, I just feel like I was talking to somebody earlier today about this, and this feeling that maybe I just feel like did I not pay attention to this before, but something feels so fake. I've never, maybe I would, like I said, was I not paying attention before? There was something really grotesque and just truly awful about the fact that there's a war situation, people are dying, but it's all done in the name of something very fake. It just feels so fake. And it's just this whole spectacle to distract. And everybody here is playing, even including Iran and also Israel and us, right? Like, we're gonna go tough for this or that. So, okay, so that's really disturbing. But it's the narrative is collapsing as we speak, right? Because it's showing that it's all the change into change of theater. It's like a shift. And someone had left a comment about comparing the situation to George Orwell's 1984 book. And the person said something to the effect of that in that book, there was always a permanent war, but it wasn't really, it was all fake war to distract people, to keep people in fear. And that's very much what it feels like right now, right? They're holding everybody hostage to their madness. So okay, how does this end? I know timing is very complicated, but how does this end? Does it end? Do we go to some other time? Has to leave. Okay. They have to leave. Him and Bibi have to leave the government. Okay. But it just shows that at some point, I think Trump with his dementia and the pressures he's under, he's not going to be able to hold it together, and neither will Vance. Okay, so it just shows the whole thing kind of collapsing, not imploding, but collapsing, which is interesting. Okay. Um, it's what it's just, and this is pretty consistent that I never see. It just seems I never see something different. It seems that this collapses, and there's just not enough strength. But here they are; they still keep going, right? Okay. So having said that, let's go to I wanted to just show you this text. Um, and people were upset about it. I feel like I don't think this is, I think this is, people are like, oh, but Rutte, he's dead to me. He doesn't care. I just, to me, this is manipulation, right? And we know that Rutte apparently, um, how do you say it? Like, let's see. I think it's all written in the language that Trump uses. Okay, so that to me it feels effective actually. Okay. All right. So that's from Rutte. Mr. President, dear Donald, congratulations and thank you for your decisive action in Iran. That was truly extraordinary and something that no one else dared to do. It makes us all safer. So I think, honestly, to me, it feels like he knows how to manipulate Trump and deal with his ego. You are flying to another big success. It's exactly how Trump thinks, right? Another big success in The Hague this evening. It was not easy, but we've got them all signed on to 5%. Donald, you have driven us to a really, really important moment for America and Europe and the world. You will achieve something no American president in decades could get done. Europe is going to pay in a big way, as they should, and it will be your win. Safe travels and see you at His Majesty's dinner. So it's probably because is that the king? If it's in The Hague, I know little, I know little. Really, the king. There's like they're gonna meet up with the king. There's the kings over there in the Netherlands. But anyway, the point is that what I'm seeing here is that Rutte was pumping, was like flattering him as much as possible because he does not want him to leave NATO, and that's the threat. They all know that that's what Putin wants, and that's what Putin is pushing him to do. So, okay, so he's essentially speaking. If you notice this, it's not, and I feel like I don't think that Mark Rutte would have held on to power for 14 years in the Netherlands and now out of NATO if he wasn't skilled in interpersonal relationships and communication, right? So, so that's what I think. He's just making sure that that he's buttered, right? That trash is buttered, so that he doesn't leave NATO for now. Okay, so what is actually what is the effect? Okay, let's see here. So okay, let's see here. What is the effect? Right? What is the effect? Mark Rutte's text. Okay, so what is how does sorry. In other words, how does Trump receive this? It's like, okay. And I see that for some reason, I feel like he's being briefed on how Trump made the decision to attack Iran because Bibi was able to flatter him and to use his moodiness to his advantage. So this is how he has to deal with Trump because he absolutely does not want NATO to lose the U.S. I feel like he doesn't think that Trump is going to be there for that long, but that makes a lot of sense what he's doing if you think of the big picture. It's not, you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people are like, oh, it should just be like, hey, Trump, shut your mouth. You're such an asshole, whatever, right? It doesn't work with him, right? You have to flatter him if you want something from him, especially if you're not giving him money, right? So I feel like that's what they're doing here. Try to do everything to placate him and kind of like neutralize him essentially, right? So because I said yesterday that everything is so unpredictable that it's possible that Trump could say, "Oh, I'm going to leave. I don't care." But if you think about it strategically, what ends up happening is that if Europe and they are in fact increasing their spending to 5%, right, in first defense, it means that Russia is in a bad spot. It does not benefit Russia if this happens, right? And that's essentially all of this has in fact benefited and united Europe further against Russia, right? So, okay, so that's the story. All right. So I'm just gonna do this very quickly, okay? Because because it was just an update, and tomorrow I'll be back with more meaty material. Okay. All right. Have a good night. Thanks for watching.